Hello, loves. So, as you can see, I wanted to come live and do a live energy update. I wanted to discuss with you these energies many of us are navigating in this Venus retrograde, and then we can jump into some mini readings for you as well. So, if you'll bear with me for a second while people are coming in, I am just going to pin a comment. Hi, thank you for joining me. I'm just going to pin a comment here, and then we're going to jump in. So, hi, I'm so happy to see you. So I hope that you and all of you, if you're watching the replay as well, are having a happy, healthy, and blessed start to the new year. Yay, thank you for joining me from Kuwait. I wanted to do this live energy update because I know that personally and many people in our tribe and in other tribes that I am a part of have been navigating a few more rough waters than usual in this first week, new week of the year. And there are a lot of changes happening on the front of love and relationships, and not just love, romantic love relationships, but familial relationships as well. And that's due to Venus being in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So Capricorn rules over family and rules over business and rules over sometimes money because it makes people hardworking. And Venus, of course, is the planet of love and money. And so when she goes retrograde in the sign rather of Capricorn, we're going to have an emphasis and a focus on family relationships, on relationships of all kinds, and also on karma, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So this Venus retrograde in particular has felt heavy in the navigation for a lot of people because of the fact that she is in retrograde in Cap. And Venus is beauty, right? She is Venus, she is Aphrodite. So many of the goddesses tap into the energy that she is. And she likes things beautiful. She likes things nourishing and, of course, loving and positively abundant. And so when she is reassessing and rethinking her positions by being in retrograde or she is going to put emphasis on either what wants to be beautiful again and bring things back, or what is no longer beautiful. And she's going to help us work through the karma of that. In a retrograde especially, you get a lot of the energies either coming a lot faster or a lot slower. So we're familiar with Mercury retrograde. We're asked to kind of slow down and take a step back, and sometimes communication and tech put bugs so that we can slow down. I find personally that in a Venus retrograde, things kind of speed up rather than slow down. So if there are relationships that aren't working or haven't been working, the breakdown of those relationships will kind of speed up because she wants to help you and say, hey, I want to jump you to a different timeline. I want to jump you to a new timeline where your relationships are more reflective of your higher self's beauty and of my beauty as Venus. And, coincidingly, depending on where you are in your life and in your karmic contracts and how much work you've been doing on your personal healing, she may also say, hey, there was this beautiful relationship that you left in your past, or this beautiful passion that you left in your past. I want to bring that back. So she can subsequently also reignite passions. But what I'm finding in the collective is that it's more so in this first week of the year, because she's been retrograde for a few weeks now, and she will be for a few more weeks. But in this first week especially, I've been finding that it's more so the heavy stuff and the breakdown stuff that has been affecting most people in the collective. And so if you aren't seeing that in your current physical reality and your current interactions with physical relationship, you may be getting that as a heaviness in the heart, as a heaviness in the chest, or in replays of dreams or past breakups or past hurts, in order to clear that karma and heal things once and for all. So I am also getting this a lot with twin flames, and a lot of twin flame relationships will either break down or sometimes rekindle during a Venus retrograde. But if you have a past twin flame relationship breakdown, I would encourage you to kind of look up the date and see if it was coinciding with a Venus retrograde, because I know that a lot of them have. And I'm actually working on twin flame programs, both as a new form of session and one-on-one coaching and healing, and hopefully also as group work if enough of you are interested, because Venus retrograde has been helping me to sort of put the bows and the final ties on some new twin flame information that I've been working on for quite some time. I want to really be a part of breaking down the toxicity in the twin flame template, and doing that more so than just with the private clients that I've already had, but in a more public way now that I believe and have seen that more people are ready to take that step. So if you're feeling called to that, and if you're ready to let that toxicity go, shoot me a DM and we can discuss to see which of those options might be right for you. But even beyond the romantic relationships, right? I mentioned the family relationships, and that one has been a big one for me and for most people that I've been talking to in this period. There's been a lot of family dramas, a lot of family relationships and family karmic contracts that aren't working and haven't been working for quite some time are getting that speed up to say, hey, you don't need to continue to interact and engage with people solely because they're family if they are toxic to you, or if they can't recognize and honor you for your worth, or quite simply if the karma is done. And sometimes the karma has been done for quite some time, but we need to decide that we're done, right? And either stop forming more karma by keeping ourselves in situations, or, just have the courage to learn that lesson of surrender and learn when it's time to release the reins and let go of relationships and patterns that are no longer working, because the universe has been trying to show us that they're not working for quite some time. And so the energy update reel that I did yesterday was a lot about breaking down family karmas and family patterns and cycles and curses, if you will, and the prison that can be, because a lot of us as light workers come here to heal not only ourselves and the collective, but our family lines. And sometimes we misconstrue that in our self-talk, because we feel like in order to heal that family line, we have to continually put ourselves in positions where we're actively a part of it physically, and keep ourselves in situations that are not healthy. And to be a healer and to heal that family line, sometimes it is about just recognizing the patterns and stepping away, and you can send a lot more love and light and healing to situations and to DNA healing and activation by not continually putting yourselves in physical toxic conversations or toxic situations. Now, I do also want to mention, because of the karma clearing aspect that's been happening, a lot of people have also been having issues with situations, not only people. So we're examining our relationships with situations, and a lot of that has been also relationship with money, because Venus, love and money. And so we'll have a lot of things come up that can be quite overwhelming, because she wants to teach us to change and heal and elevate our relationship with all the things and people in our life, right? She is the divine feminine, and whether you are a masculine or a feminine person, whichever you more resonate with, right? I'm very much of the school that we're all both. This is quite a time where we're replenishing that feminine honor, and we're fighting for it a lot of the time. And feminine is about receive, whether you are a masculine or a feminine. And so our relationship with money is about our masculine relationship with being hardworking, but it's also a great deal about our feminine relationship with being able to receive for what we give, for what we share, for what we are, and also just being able to receive in honor, in luxury, in surplus, because when we have that flowing energy of surplus, we're able to share more freely, and those waves, those ripples are able to stretch out farther. And it's a wound that a lot of people carry, that we don't let ourselves replenish to that point of surplus because we're constantly in that cycle of giving and sharing rather than having enough receive. So a lot of us have been learning kind of hard lessons as we're clearing up karma, where money's been tighter than usual, or very strange events have been happening, like cars breaking down. I know that happened to me. Home things needing repair also happened to my family. Cars breaking down, I've heard with other people. Things that are unexpected that impact the income. Sometimes it's health things, right? I've heard that with a lot of people in the collective, and obviously world situation of health we send prayers to. But all of those things that are a sudden energy that is unexpected, where having money or needing money becomes the focus of helping to alleviate those situations. Now, a lot of those situations are part of us clearing up family karmic contracts or family patterns and beliefs that we've been taught about money. They're also clearing up light worker beliefs that we have about money and giving and receiving money. But it's felt really overwhelming for a lot of people, right? Especially because we've had so much hope of going into a new year and transition, and then suddenly a lot of us have a pile-on of things that we need money for, or that we have to deal with our family stresses and relationships coming at us, or the health, like we mentioned, and in a bunch of cases as well, the passing of loved ones. There are a great many people, myself, we had a passing in the family, and of course we've had some very famous legendary actors and actresses pass away, and I know a lot of other clients and friends who've had loved ones pass away just in this kind of past 2-week period. And so all of that, of course it does teach us what we can handle, but it's right now also teaching us to work on and maybe shift our relationship with how we interact with things, what we truly believe, how we give and receive. Because even if it's something like grief and supporting yourself or your family during the passing of a loved one, boundaries come up into play. Giving and receiving comes into play, of how much you can be there as a support for other people, and how much you can step back when you need to and honor what your body and soul is telling you, and also support or ask for support yourself. So I really felt Venus coming through and saying, no matter kind of which end of those categories you fall into or your current situations fall into, don't be ashamed to ask for help, and also don't feel guilty about believing that you deserve more, whether that is more help, more love, more appreciation, more money. We want to exit this retrograde period at the end of the month in a healthier, happier, more loving, wealthy position than we entered it. And I know that it's really hard when there's a lot of overwhelm to keep believing in that and see kind of a light at the end of the tunnel, especially when you get a lot of karmic lessons coming at you at once, especially those that affect your heart, right? And that's what a lot of people are dealing with right now. They are situations, even situations that normally wouldn't affect their heart so much. Like maybe it wouldn't hurt your heart to have your car break down, but the way in which it happens brings up heart stuff for you, because Venus rules over the heart. And she wants to teach you, what is that situation and the aggravation of it, or the fear and frustration of it? Why does that bring up something in your heart? Is there a wound there from something from inner child or past life, or, a belief that somebody else instilled in you that you want to look inside and heal? So that's a big part of this. And I said also in my energy update, that's part of my mandala of the month for those of you who have purchased or are interested in that, that self-love is hugely important, right? And that's part of our give and receive as well. Learning how to integrate all the self-love practices that we've been re-downloading and re-implementing in the past couple of years of extreme healing, that's going to be a very big part of this year. And to do that, we may feel or come up against feelings of selfishness because we may need more alone time, even though a lot of us have had that in quarantines. We may need more alone time to process these things that are coming up than we've needed before. And so honor that if you need that. Now, I do foresee and personally know that need that's coming up and that alone time that's coming up, that may lead, not to scare anyone, but this can help explain some situations, that may lead to the breakdown of some relationships in our life, because there are certain people that we have in our life that are there because of how much we've made ourselves available to them. And so if we flip the script and we change that by implementing new boundaries that become necessary for us as we're integrating new forms of self-love, as we're integrating our healing, as we're integrating our upgrades and up levels, when we flip that script in our relationships, particularly this happens with karmic friends or family members, those people can sometimes feel jolted because they're not growing at the same rate or on the same levels that we are, and they were mostly in our lives to have karmic relationship interactions with us, and once we're not prepared to show up for them in the same continual way that we were because we're showing up for ourselves, they'll kind of show you their true colors, and they'll not really be respectful of it or able to handle it. You'll see that the relationships that are meant to last in your life, not that you owe anyone an explanation, but by not having to explain yourself and those people still treating you the same way, those are the people that are meant to stay in your life. By not having to explain yourself and those people just checking in to make sure you're all right in a non-manipulative way and are still there for you after you say, yeah, I'm just going through some things or taking some space. Those are the people that are meant to stay in your life. The ones that you feel like a lashback about them not really understanding and not being respectful of your boundary, or even kind of getting in their own hurt feelings and trying to pour them onto you about you having a boundary, those are the people that are showing you that they're there in your life in a karmic capacity. And those are the people that Venus is going to be working with primarily in this Venus retrograde period to kind of break down the trauma bonds or the toxicity bonds that have kept us tied to each other. And as you break down those bonds and cut and remove a lot of those cords, you're going to find that the other things in your life that you want or need space for will come and flow more freely, because the waters of those blessings, those things that you've been wanting and needing and manifesting, will be able to flow to you more clearly without having to navigate through all these cords of toxic attachment. So that's not to say that the breakdown of these karmic relationships isn't going to be painful for you as well, even though you're, let's say, the more awakened one, or at least the one who's aware of what's happening, because that's just not true. We can still mourn and grieve the presence of someone in our lives, even if we're the ones removing ourselves from that situation or recognizing why that situation is leaving our life. We can still process our own feelings about not having them in our lives in the same way. And for a lot of people, this message that we've just been going through about breaking down toxicity and toxic relationships and things and karmic relationships, that can also apply to the relationship that you believe is your twin flame relationship, because, you know, it could be about the twin flame template and the toxicity of that breaking down. It's not to say that you were wrong about who your twin flame was, but almost everyone has karma between them, even the souls that are or know themselves or believe themselves to be twin flames. So that karma wants to leave our life right now, and it's leaving in such a way where it's vibrating so much that it can be bringing a lot of situations that are overwhelming into our life at once to deal with, a lot of lessons. I have a video actually that's going to be going live tomorrow about that energy of overwhelm and dealing with downward spirals and not guilting ourselves when we're in an energy of overwhelmed, and how to kind of flip the script about seeing it in a different perspective, in a different way, and not seeing it from our old former wounded ways, so that we can step out of that negative trajectory. So you can look for that. It'll probably be live on my YouTube first. And so that'll go live on YouTube around 9 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, and it will be here on Instagram as well about noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. So look for that if you are dealing with any form of empathic overwhelm. And I know that I have some of you here. If we're going to start opening it up for mini readings as well. So if you have a question about something that we've already gone into and you want to ask that, or if you want to have just a generalized mini reading, let me know in the comments, and I will be very happy to engage with you. Those of you who appreciate the energy update or the mini readings, you can also send me a donation through the first link in my bio, or paypal.me/DSEnlightenedEdits. That's very much appreciated for energy exchange. And I'm going to be using some cards as well, so that we have some nice imagery, and it also helps the interaction when we're in this capacity. Although if you'd like to go further and do a quantum session with me, we can do that as well. And in those, I mostly just straight channel for you, but that's also because we have more of an interaction. I can hear your voice and we can go back and forth. But I also wanted to incorporate that we have some goddess energy cards here, so that we have that beautiful divine feminine energy. We have the goddess cards from my friend Claudia Olivos at Olivos Art Studio here on Instagram and YouTube, so that we can bring in more of that goddess and that Venus energy. And I will also show you, this is this month's Mandala of the month, and this one was created with Venus. This was created with Venus. It has a 6-pointed star, and we are, if you didn't know and haven't seen my posts on this, we are in a year 6 of numerology, being 2022. And we get that year 6 because we add the numbers, the 2s together, and then we get to 6, and Venus rules over the number 6 and the energy of 6. Wow, thank you. I'm glad you like it. You can purchase this now as a digital download. That's also linked in my bio, and it comes with your digital copy of this image to meditate with and energy art activate with, as well as a video, a 1-hour video infusion. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you like it. So yeah, we have this one where it is actually made from images of ice and flowers here. And of course, Venus loves her flowers, and most flowers in nature are made up of 6 petals, or a lot of vegetables, fruit, sacred shapes, sacred geometry are made up of 6 seeds, because of the fact that Venus rules this number, and the divine feminine gives birth to this number and energy. And so in this energy art piece, you can meditate with it as a portal. You can use it for energy sending and receiving, or you can print it out like I have here, and you can place it and do your manifesting through it, or place crystals on the points and use it as a crystal grid to call in an energy that you would like. And then there are a whole bunch of other ways that you can use it that we go into in the 1-hour energy art infusion that comes with it, which is in video form. And in that video, we discuss more the energies of the year, the energies of it being a year 6, and a lot of the lessons that Venus and this 2022 year have in store for us. Because it's my damsel divine mirroring, we also have quantum faces that come through when you zoom in and out of the piece. And so there are a lot of energy of ice dragons in this piece who I've been working with because we're getting snow here where I live in New York, and they've been very magical and very loyal. But that can also help you in your magical healing and your magical manifesting. So I really enjoyed doing that channeling. If you're interested in that, that's available. Also linked in my bio, the Mandala of the month for January 2022. And in that video, we actually go into what the 222 represents and what the 22 can represent. So in numerology, we use the numbers 1 through 9, but then we also use 11 and 22. And the 11 and 22 are master numbers. And a lot of twin flames or awakening people know the 11 or the 1111. But when we get to the 22, it's an elevation of that. It's the next step. It's the next level, which is why I also believe that this new elevation of the twin flame work is coming in, but it can also represent opposition, because the twos, of course, mirror each other, but the way in which they mirror each other can bring in opposing forces. So in a 222, we're going to be breaking down a lot of duality, and we're going to be presented with choices, so everyone is going to have to decide for themselves which end of the karma they are on, and how they want to proceed. There could be things that we've been manifesting for a long time and working for a long time, but in this year we may re-examine them and think that, maybe they're not what we want anymore because we've changed and we've healed and we've grown, and that's okay. Let me see a question here. Do you have something for physical body healing? Because I feel so drained and exhausted. Yeah, I get that. So I would say, of course, disclaimer, I am not a doctor. If you need a doctor, you have to get that examined. But for physical healing, I do energetic healing. I work with the Sikhem, which is an energy of Sekhmet. It's an Egyptian form of Reiki, which kind of predates Reiki. And so when you're feeling exhausted, a lot of time I work energy healing on that because of the fact that it can be energies or entities that kind of attach to our auric field, sometimes our body, and are draining us. It could be old patterns. It could be those toxic cords and contracts that we mentioned, that even if we're not in touch with the person anymore, if we haven't healed that in our mind or energy field and kind of cut off a bond, it could still be draining and leaking energy out. A lot of times physical exhaustion can also be linked to auric tears that we have, which again can be caused by energy kind of parasites that can happen. Sometimes it's also due to trauma or shock that kind of shakes the auric field and rips it. So it can be a lot of things. I don't want to, dive into the energy personally in this way. With the energy healings, I do those on a consultation basis first, where we build you a little custom package, because I never just like to do a one and done with energy healings. Much the same way if you had a physical surgery, you would go to the doctor a few times after for them to check you, remove your stitches, whatnot. I like to do healings in a package form so that we can set up session after your healing as well to help you integrate into the newness of the healed energy, because in years past before I did that, I found that a lot of people needed that anyway, and it wasn't really responsible to leave them just with the one and done healing. So if you would like to discuss that more and build you a custom package, we can do that. We can talk about that through DM, and I do those through either Zoom or Skype, and all the time zones are accommodated. So let me know. No pressure to let me know now, but think about it and see. But I would say just sort of the baseline thing that you could do if you've been feeling exhausted is, if you feel comfortable meditating and journaling and asking yourself through a kind of automatic writing where you're doing stream of consciousness and you're not judging yourself. You can ask yourself, where is this coming from right now? And you could break that down into what chakra that's coming from. You could break that down into maybe what relationship or situation that may be coming from, and then start to work on that in your mind and heart healing and see how that changes the energy drain that you've been feeling. And sometimes also things will come up and come through about physical things that we can do in that process of adding maybe a supplement. I work a lot with the energy of supplements, whether that is to maybe use that energy of a plant as an incense or to take it as a physical supplement, of course, if your doctor agrees as well. So a lot of times that comes up in the quantum sessions and healings that I do too, and it's just kind of a way to have the physical self vibrate in resonance that matches the energy work that we're doing also. So yeah, I would love you to book a session with me. You can use the links in my bio. There's there's a link there for quantum sessions. And if you're interested in going beyond that into a package for quantum sessions and quantum healing, you can DM me and we can discuss it, and I will get you a price for your custom version. And we can see when it works best for you. But if you purchase, if you want to start with a quantum session, those are on special on my website right now, and those also can, if you purchase through the website, can be broken down into 4 PayPal payments for whoever needs that as well. I also have on my website signs and symbols sessions for those of you who are working on expanding your gifts and wanting to decode your downloads. There are also starseed support sessions, and the new twin flame template session will be loading into there, as well as Akashic records and past life readings. I already do those with clients, but I've been working on adding those individually to the website. In a quantum session, we cover all of that anyway. It's the most comprehensive session, but I know some people get overwhelmed by the opportunity to dive into everything and would rather kind of break it down into one form or the other, so those are going into the website as well. But yeah, I hope you enjoy that, and I appreciate you so much always when I see you, so I would love to work with you more. And if you like the mandala, you can purchase that as well. That's on there for $11.11 right now. And I've been doing that every month because I want more digital downloads pieces, available with the energy art. And I love being able to connect with people in that way. An interesting thing that came up as well for tonight before I was going live was Venus knew, and I was channeling and discussing with her, and we were talking about, how we were going to address the heaviness of the karmic situations that have been going on for a lot of people and how that is due to the lessons of Venus retrograde. But we were also she also wanted me to reiterate that, she is the planet and the goddess of love and beauty and abundance, and she does have a lot of positive things in store for us. So that came through a lot in the Mandala of the Month video. But she also brought me a new spirit animal because, I love my spirit animal medicine, and I actually have a little figure of this spirit animal. So it's the penguin. This is a little carved crystal penguin, and she brought this through because she wanted us to remember that the energetics of the penguin are of duality because it's a black and white animal, but also that the penguin is an animal of loyalty and fidelity, and the penguins actually mate by bringing each other a crystal, kind of like a proposal, and they are loyal to each other for life. So she wanted you to remember that if you're upset about the breakdown of certain relationships in your life or the not coming together of certain relationships in your life, remember that there is love like this out there for you. And sometimes we have to wade through the crap first and heal that and heal those beliefs we have about those things before we get this kind of love that gets to last for us. So let me just read the comment here. Do you also do healing sessions for disabled kids? My niece has a lot of congenital syndromes and doctors don't know what to do. Yes, so what I would say is we would do an energy session. I would never guarantee that those, especially if they're congenital issues, would be healed. However, I do a lot of medical intuition, and it's amazing the things that the guides bring me. Like, I will get a name of a neurotransmitter or the name of a type of antioxidant, things that just, they're not normally in my brain. Or sometimes they'll make me watch a video of something that has nothing to do with anything, just so that I can get what that word sounds like in my head. And then when we sit in session, I'll get that information and sort of be guided to share that with the client so that they can have a more informed view of things to ask their doctors about or look for or look into in terms of alternative healing, or even working with their doctors to have a better course of treatment. She has a lot of mental and psychological issues and is always screaming and hitting us. Yeah, so that could be a congenital issue. That could also be a brain health issue, and it could be a mental health issue. I will say I have had some experience with those who would be deemed schizophrenic, and I have always found in my work with a few of those souls who have been diagnosed with that by medical professionals that there is a very large energy component there. So that could also be about having a brain and a soul and a body that's kind of shifting between timelines too much in terms of reality and perception of reality to actually ground in one and understand one. It could also be about having energy boundaries, that aren't the best, and having interaction with different beings that are bothering them and they can't really express it to other people because those other people are not experiencing those energy beings in the same way. And so the body and the soul can get overwhelmed with either not being able to communicate that or not being able to understand that, and not being able to calm down or self-soothe. So obviously I never promise guarantee of healing, and I never advise it as a substitution to working with physical doctors, but I have found that it works quite well for people to work this end of it and then also work the end with their doctor, because when we get some of the information of what's going on in terms of energy, then all of a sudden it becomes easier to work and coincide with the physical stuff. For example, sometimes psychological issues can form an imbalance with the gut brain as well, and so working on that gut health can help alleviate the swelling in the brain and the mental pressure and the stress of that. So there are a whole bunch of different things, and so there are supplements that I can advise looking into that, of course, you double check with a doctor or a pharmacist, but there are a lot of things that can help with that. I would say also in a situation like that, if it's quite severe where she is either nonverbal or overly verbal in a way that's not controllable to her, that can be also linked to a karmic contract. So I personally have a family member who is nonverbal because of a defect or an accident at birth, and I know that personally he has that situation where he's quadriplegic and mostly nonverbal because of a karmic contract that he has to learn things in that life experience. So if it's something like a soul contract, a lifelong soul contract to experience a certain disease or a situation, that can't be healed to the point of going away, because that soul has agreed to experience that to a certain point in that lifetime. It can, however, be healed to the point of them understanding it, navigating better through it, and understanding and helping the relationship that everyone else has around them with it. Because I know with my family member who has that situation, it was about his lessons in life and from past lives, to, experience love and care from a point where he couldn't express himself or care for himself. But it's also about the karma that he has with the family that's immediately around him, because it teaches those people lessons as well in terms of how they treat him and how they treat their lives, including him. So that kind of thing can come up in sessions and healings as well, where we understand the past life component or the karmic lesson component in why things are going a certain way. And so then we can better understand and or heal it. So I hope that answers your question, and I'm going to save this on a replay as well, so maybe that helps some other people who are navigating similar things, because even if it's not a disease or a disorder to that level and that degree, there's always more we can do in terms of understanding it, and then it's kind of a balance of what we surrender to higher power and what we take on within our own power to work with, and adjust for ourselves by working with that energy from a new point of understanding. So let's say someone is dealing with cancer. They may not be able to completely end their cancer or alleviate their cancer without any other form of medical treatment, although I have known some people who have, but they may be able to work better with their doctors and with their belief about healing, with not having reactions to treatments, and with allowing the incorporation of treatments to take full effect, rather than need more treatment because of resistance that's sitting in their body or in their energy field. So I know that I had a friend who worked that to a great deal and became cancer-free, which doctors didn't anticipate, because she was working the energy at the same time as doing and pursuing other treatment. And I know for me personally, there have been a lot of family line health issues that ended up with me kind of because I was the only soul who would look at those things and take them on and work to heal them rather than sit in kind of a victim mentality about them. And so I've worked with kind of hundreds of different kinds of supplements within my own body, as well as in recommendation to others, because I believe, in Gaia and in the earth and in plant medicine. And of course, always listen to your doctors if they more so recommend chemical medicine, but I always love to do the research and dive into, well, what is the base for the chemical medicine anyway? And why did it have to become chemicalized? Is there a plant form? Is there some kind of way that it can be better integrated into the body in a form that Mother Nature built our bodies to understand and work with? And I believe that there is a healing for every ailment. Sometimes, like I said, in rare cases, that healing is understanding that it's a karma and it's a karmic contract to experience it for a certain amount of time. But most times, more than people think and believe, we have the ability to heal and at least live with things without them affecting us in the way that they are believed to affect us. I know of another spiritual teacher who was diagnosed with a serious disease that does not have a cure, and by doing things with her energy and her supplements, she basically lives symptom-free, even though she technically still does have that and will occasionally have a bout of that disease flare up. She gets to live a life that is in alignment with her and her mission and her wants and her needs. And I've definitely worked to mirror that with some of my own health issues, and I believe everyone can. It's just about our willingness to explore and do that and do the deep dive. But do you have any other questions that you wanted to ask, or you can save it for the session, or if you'd like a mini reading, you just let me know. I'm so happy that we got to connect, even though I know you're in a very different time zone, and I'm so happy for all of you that watch this on the replay as well, because I know I've heard from a few of you, it's been a rough time in navigating in those family issues, those family health issues, those personal issues, those romantic things. They've been hurting, our hearts, because our hearts are healing, and our hearts are finally ready to integrate healings that we weren't ready to heal before. And it doesn't make it go away, but I certainly hope that the support and the understanding makes it easier. Oh, you're so welcome for the live. Thank you for coming in. Well, with that, I'm feeling the energy step back. So I'm going to thank you for being here, and you can message me, like I said, or anyone else, feel free to message me. And I might hop on a little bit later or tomorrow, see if anyone else wants to join, but I'm going to save this. You can watch the replay for the energy update anytime. Like I said, you can use the links in my bio for those sessions, for the services, for the energy art and enlightened merch. And stay tuned for tomorrow's video about energy overwhelm. It's going to be a chat and channel session. I hope that helps to turn some people's mindset and view around. And I heard something today from one of my favorite authors, Martha Beck, and she said that we should be able to flip the script to know that sometimes when we're going through a lot of negative synchronicity, it's actually the storm before the calm. And that's what I'm going to brand and call this. And she was talking about how it's kind of the universe and the grand archer pulling back the bow into kind of all the storminess, and then letting it go into this beautiful calm sky. And I work a lot with Artemis, who is here on my friend's deck. She is the divine archer. And I'm going to say that that's the place that we're in. And credit to her, credit to Martha Beck. I believe she is the Martha Beck on Instagram, but she has a lot of books that I recommend to saying that we can be in that energy where it's not the calm before the storm and look at it and think with dread and not enjoy the calm. We can right now say that we're in the storm before the calm that we've all worked for. That's what I'm working to manifest personally and collectively, and I'm going to pray and wish that for all of you as well. And thank you for joining me. I will see you next time with LoveLight and LightCodes. Danielle, #Damsel at D's Enlightened Edits, damseldesigns.com. Bye for now.